Good morning, Ashley here, 11th of January. How are you all doing? So the subject of this video is to express, share my sort of new awareness I'm having around my gambling addiction and in general all my addictions I've had throughout the years, and how stuff is coming through me since I've been listening and meditating and working on my mindfulness, working on my inner self, and sort of what thoughts are coming through and what I'm becoming aware of through me learning, through me self-awareness, and what I'm seeing around me. And last few days actually, I got a different perception about gambling addiction to what I did a few months ago, in the past few months. So in the last few months I've sort of been blaming the operators for the strategies they use, this VIP scheme, and the operators use these VIP schemes, and there's a lot of blame because of that, about the gambling advertising, on shirts, on tournaments, on TV. There's a lot of blame with that, and there's a lot of blame about how they design their websites, their shops, their slogans, how people talk, and there just seems to be a lot of blame at the moment in terms of problem gambling. And I've done it myself. I've done some videos about how I was blaming Sky Bet for not taking any action when I cooled off. I found out that I cooled off 30 times in my 11 years of having the account, and I sort of turned the light and turned my problems on them, and wanted to blame them for sort of me not taking responsibility of looking inside, looking at my own choices, looking at my own expressions, and so what happens when we blame people, when we blame things or situations? It's really a distraction from ourselves. It's really a distraction of, it's a way of ignorance. So we're basically saying to the world, I'm going to blame you, or that whatever that thing is in terms of Sky Bet, so I don't have to look inside and accept that I could be more responsible for my own choices. Because reading philosophy, Stoic philosophy, it's brought me awareness about how we have the power of our own choices. We have the power of our own reason, choice, and everywhere we go, in any situation, whether we're rich, poor, got 10 kids, got single, old, young, tall, short, fat, thin, we always have the power of making our own reasoned choice, having our own opinion. And the thing is, it all stems from a thought we have. Everything stems from the thought we have. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. So it's a lot of thoughts. And anything we do stems from a thought. So why do we feel that blaming someone or something is going to not have that thought of whatever is the thing that we're trying to stop doing? I'll just let it sit and sit with you, and I'll just leave a bit of space for a second to help us reflect on that. Because what we do, what I've done, I've been telling the story of the victim in my life, I've been carrying a victim. I've been playing the part of a victim. Unaware, unconsciously, not being aware of it. Unconsciously means not being aware of it. I've been on autopilot pretty much all my life, up until recently. Unconsciously programmed, primed, conditioned to play the part of a victim. So when you're in autopilot, you're not thinking about, you're not really conscious about where you're going, who you're with, what time it is. You're just doing it. You're just doing what you did yesterday and then just carrying on what you did yesterday into today, and it carries on. You're just living in the past. When you're on autopilot, you're not consciously thinking about what you're doing. You just think everything around you is you. So if we all agree on this, that everything starts with a thought, why do we feel that that gambling is a problem? Because for me, it's not. Gambling is not the problem. Gambling is not the source of it. The advertising on people's shirts is not the problem. How can it be? Because surely the problem is with us. The problem is that we're responding to a thought and an attitude we have, and not being aware of that thought, and just being on autopilot. When we have that thought, we're just carrying it out. That thought we've had the same yesterday, the day before. We're just continuing the same thought pattern without being aware of it. But if we're not aware of these things, then yes, we will shine a light on other things around us. We will blame the operators, the politicians, other people. And yeah, it's not the gambling, because it can't be the gambling. The addiction is not directed to gambling. I don't think you can be a gambling addict. I think, yeah, there's a lot of people who call it, "I'm a gambling addict." You're not a gambling addict. You just you're addicted to the outside world. You're addicted to the thoughts. You're addicted to carrying out the thoughts that are just carrying on every day, and you're not being conscious of those thoughts and being straight with your judgments and making good choices about anything. It's not about the gambling, because the brain is not saying gamble. The brain is saying chemistry. The brain and body wants chemistry. It wants familiarity. It wants that same cocktail mix you've been giving it, and it doesn't care about whether it comes from gambling or sex or social media or whatever it is. It's just telling you, right, I want that chemistry again, just get it from somewhere. And because we're comfortable, we're familiar with gambling, we go to the gambling because we know it's a known. So stopping gambling isn't necessarily going to stop this thought pattern, these habits. Because when you stop, right, if you stop gambling, for example, and you say, right, I'm going to stop gambling, but I'm not going to choose to look at myself, I'm not going to do the inner work, I'm not going to choose to be more conscious of my own unconscious thoughts, you will, because you're not doing that, you will just find something else your mind and body will just be screaming out for that still screaming out for that chemistry. So what you will do, you will look for something else, whether it be sex, arguments. It could be running. You know, you could find the chemistry you want from running, and it's neither good or bad, because none of the addictions that we're doing, none of the things that we're addicted, we believe we're addicted to, none of the things that we're got familiarity of doing. It's not the addiction. It's not coming from that. The chemistry isn't coming from that. We're building the chemistry inside of us. It's all coming from us. It's not coming from specifically gambling. The gambling just helps us. We see it, and we're seeing it. We feel it, we can hear it, and we're just, with our brain, and our body, we're creating this chemistry that's giving us those feelings of excitement. And when we lose, we're looking at it and we're seeing our bank balance drop. We're looking at that and we're feeling fear, and we're just getting that chemistry. But that could be anything. That could be that could be, with food. You know, when we eat something, when we eat a snack, or when we eat some fast food or junk food, we're building the chemistry. Building chemistry in your body, and it's just going from mind to body. So if we all agree on this, then it's not, and let me know if you agree or not, it's not about stopping gambling. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right to stop gambling. I'm not saying it's wrong or right to get to gamble, but it's just being aware that the gambling is not the problem. If you're addicted to porn, porn is not a problem. Because it can't be, because most people who gamble, the stats have proven that enjoy gambling. They're not. They're aware. They're aware of they're not chasing the bets. They're not getting too hyped up when they win. So, because if gambling was a problem, then everyone would be suffering. It's not fact. It cannot be fact that gambling is bad for you. So going back to the advertising and our state of mind. So instead of blaming and playing the victim and not looking at the victim inside of you and looking at the pain inside of you, instead of doing that, instead of blaming the operators for the advertising they're doing and the VIP schemes, whatever it is, why don't we look at ourselves? Because if we looked at ourselves, then if we saw, and we did the inner work and we started to make good choices and be aware of our thoughts, then we could look at, that add-on that pops up when we watch a YouTube video, or that ad that comes up when we're watching a football match. We could use our judgment, our newfound judgment and choices, and not feel the need, and make the good choice. Whether it is not gambling or gambling, it's irrelevant, because it's not the gambling that harms us. It's us. We're harming ourselves. We're choosing to harm ourselves. Just like people who haven't got a gambling, who enjoy gambling, enjoy it. So it's not a black and white. And what I'm seeing at the moment is, which could be making it worse, let me know if you agree, is a lot of people seem to be dragging the gambling industry into the muddy water. And I sort of have in the previous videos, we're dirtying it. There's a lot of campaigns out there to change the industry and this and that, there's a lot of websites, GamStop and self-exclusion, but that cannot be the solution. The solution cannot be self-excluding or hiding ads on your website, and yes, these things can help, but it's not the solution. The solution is in us. The solution is in doing the inner work and knowing the power of your mind, that if you see something, you can choose not to gamble, or not to gamble, or to gamble, whatever you want to do, and have a straight reasoned choice. But yes, when you have a hazy choice pattern, hazy, and you haven't got a clear, you're not clear on making choices, then yes, you will be. And if you're in doubt as well, if you're living in doubt and living in the past and feeling unworthy, then if you're feeling unworthy, then yes, you will be manipulated by whatever you're seeing, and you will be more likely to gamble. But that's not their problem. That's the fact that you are being manipulated is not their problem. They are a business. They are making their own choices as we can make our own, and they are choosing to do that. They are choosing to. So it's not people manipulating you. It's you're choosing to be manipulated by not looking at your pain, looking at your suffering, looking at your own shining light in yourself. Because if you do that, then you will be less likely to be manipulated. And that's, as I said at the start of the video, that's the source of the problem. It's in your own brain. That's where the seed is planted. And it's like going out into the garden. You know the weeds are gonna be there every week. You go out to the garden, you cut the weeds, but you think, right, those weeds are gonna be there again next week. But so I'm just gonna cut. I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'm just gonna cut the weeds so I don't have to look at them now. I don't have to look at them for a week. And then you go out to the garden again next week, and the weeds have grown again, and you go out to cut them again. More effort. More time, more energy, more effort. And you burn yourself out by cutting all these weeds every week. Even though you know, deep down, that those weeds are going to grow again next week. So instead, using that analogy, why don't we look at the source and look at the root of where the weeds coming from, down below? Why don't we dig up the garden and start from scratch, dig up the whole garden and find out where these weeds are being sprouted from, so we don't have to go out every week to cut them. We can just pull out a whole garden, plant new grass and everything, so weeds don't grow, and you get lots of blossoms coming through your garden, and you can enjoy the fruits. You can enjoy the apples, oranges, blueberries, whatever you're planting, with no weeds. To me, that feels like less time, less effort, less energy. So I encourage people out there, companies, campaigns. I saw an ad last week on one of the Facebook groups showing like a footballer knocking at someone's door. It's on the Clean Up Gambling Facebook pages. A person, a footballer with a betting advertising on in his football shirt, and a boy answered, and the footballer was like saying, "Oh, have a bet on me. I'm going to score this week." And he was attempting to manipulate the kid to do it. And he's going to every door. And the dad came out. So again, that's just muddying the waters of the gambling, muddying the waters of football clubs, and instead, in that analogy, why has a parent not brought the lad to one side and educated him on mindfulness and how on his own choices, rather than blaming the footballer who has a betting company on his shirt. And why are we? And I know a lot of people, and there's a company out there, I won't name them, that and I've been in touch with them. I've helped them in the past, but yeah, we're blaming football clubs. We're blaming football clubs for having betting companies on the shirts. But that's external, and it's asking ourselves, right, what do we control and what do we don't control? Do we control what football clubs choose to have on their football shirts? Do we control that? Do we control what TV station choose to show in front of us? Do we control advertising? Do we control what betting terminals, betting shops have? Do we control how many betting shops there are? Do we control the apps? Do we control how manipulative the apps are on our phones? Do we control these things? And once you've got an answer yes or no, and then you can say, right, if you think you control that, then maybe think again. And once you get to the answer of no, ask yourself, right, if I don't control that, then ask yourself what you do control. And that, in reality, the only thing you control is your own values, your attitude, your reasoning, your reason, your guided reason, your good choices, the choices you make, your actions, your emotions. They're the only things that you can control. So why don't we focus, instead of blaming other people and other companies, and blaming choices what other people make, why don't we look at our own choices and shine light on us? Total focus on us. Because if we all did that, then what do you think the world would look like if we all focused on making good choices? Do you think we'll be more peaceful? Do you think we would all make good choices? So that's what I'm going to focus on next. That's in the next period. I am going to reach out and share sort of that message, and yeah, feel free to share this video. But this is me. This is my enlightenment, and felt good to share it, as it's a bit of a U-turn from what I've been talking about previously, where I've been blaming the externals, and it's been now being more responsible internally. And yeah, if you have any comments, let me know. If you agree, disagree, happy to hear, happy to talk, happy to discuss, open-minded. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you soon.